Hello, welcome to the Remake tutorial on how to add your own custom backend. So this right here is a client-side demo of Remake that's running entirely in the browser. So we have the support for adding and removing to-dos, editing data, and everything's stored locally in the browser. So if I refresh the page, everything's going to stay exactly the same. And I can also just inspect my app data using this tab. Um, so I set this up in part to let people try Remake without installing anything, but also because I want to see new implementations of Remake, and part of that is just letting people build it into their own projects or build it on top of their own websites and using their own custom backends. So if you look at the JavaScript code over here, you're going to see a pretty simple initialization function, and that's it. But the secret is kind of hidden in an external script. So if we go into these settings and scroll down to the bottom, we're going to see this Remake Web Assets file. And if we open that up in a new tab, we're going to get this page. And this has everything you need to run the client-side demo. And I documented it thoroughly, so you should be able to get started just by reading this. And there's a lot of code in here that you actually won't need. This code is pretty necessary. This code just overwrites the default save functionality, add item functionality, and upload functionality. And those are the three main actions that Remake is going to do for you. And then, of course, you also have to add user accounts of your own on top of that, so that data, is saved and added by, only the user that owns it, of course. It adds a few handlebars helpers to make, adding data to your template a little bit easier. And then it gets the app template from the page and renders it. And this is actually just the menu for the demo, so you don't actually need that. And this is a function for rendering the app data that we saw earlier when you click on this tab. And you don't actually need that, except if you're building a demo yourself. These are just some callbacks showing error success messages. And then these are a few event listeners and helpers for the demo, right? So this is just for storing and getting local storage data. And this is just for the nav menu, just implementing the reset data and view app data buttons. So you don't actually need those either. So there's actually not a lot of code here that you need other than, obviously rendering the app with honestly whatever templating engine you want, adding a few helpers to your templating engine, and then overriding Remake's default functionality of saving data, adding items, and uploading data. I do want to mention just a couple of hiccups that you might run into. I already mentioned them here as far as implementing your own custom backend, but there's one that's actually big, which is if you want nested pages. What Remake currently does to support nested pages is you can turn on, this is the official Remake documentation page for nested pages, by the way. You can turn on unique IDs. And you just pass this into your .remake file. Of course, the client-side demo doesn't support this, so you would need to add these unique IDs to your data yourself, so that you would have support for saving data into a particular object or getting data from a particular object to display on a particular page. So yeah, that's pretty much the main one that you might have a little bit of trouble with. But Remake comes with some built-in support for that already. So if you do add the unique IDs to all of your data, if you just render them in these key ID attributes, it should give you a head start with implementing the rest. The only other things is if you are going to change out Remake's rendering engine, so if you don't want to use handlebars, you want to use something like React or Vue or just another templating engine, you just want to pay attention to this new attribute. So this new attribute will render a template called to-do. It's the second argument, so it says new to-do. And this edit attribute, you don't have to worry about. It just means that after you add a new to-do, it's just going to pop up the edit popover right away. If I remove that, it just won't that. As you can see right here, I add a new to-do. Okay, cool. So yeah, the only thing to notice about this is that if you pass in new to-do, what Remake's going to do is try to look for a component or a partial or some kind of templates called to-do, and then it's going to render that and add that to the list that it's near, the array that it's near. And so where it's getting that from right here is from this for loop. So we have for to-do in to-dos, and so Remake sees, oh, we have to-do here, so we're going to render this template inside of here with whatever data it has, and we're going to add that to the list. And so you just, if you do add your own templating engine, you're just going to have to pay attention to that and implement that yourself with your own kind of, template logic. And then the only other thing to know if you're working with Remake on the front end is you can initialize Remake as many times as you want, and that might come in handy if you're doing something funky and messing around with the DOM and something breaks. It really shouldn't break because Remake uses event delegation everywhere, but I don't know, for some reason the default Remake edit component gets removed. You can just reinitialize Remake and it'll just add it back in, and it's not going to mess with anything else or pollute the DOM or pollute your event listeners. It's just going to only add the ones it needs, and then you'll be good to go. So feel free to just initialize Remake as much as you want. It's not going to cause, or it shouldn't cause any issues. Let me know if it does. And then you might run into a tiny bit of trouble with these Remake attributes. They're non-standard HTML attributes. If you do run into trouble with those, with your particular template engine, just let me know, because I will add support for more, standard DOM attributes. As maybe like an argument that you can pass in, like prepend with data, attributes or something like that, and we would just say like true, right? And then all of the attributes would like turn into like data-array and data-key. And I can do that fairly easily. Just let me know if that's useful to you. And yeah, that should be it. You should be all set if you just read through all of the documentation in this file. You should be able to get started with adding Remake to your own, custom website or, custom Rails stack or Express stack or whatever stack you're using. Okay, cool. Well, I will talk later, and I wish you good luck.